if I were to ask you, what is the most important Jeep for a decade, what would you say? There's the new Jeep Wrangler. It's iconic, but it's just a bit same old, isn't it? Then there's the new Jeep Grand Cherokee, but it's not exactly a big car for Europe, is it? No, the most important Jeep for a decade is this. It's the all-electric Jeep Avenger. The Avenger is a small SUV based on the same fundamental platform as cars like the Vauxhall Mokka Electric, the DS3 E-Tense and the Peugeot E2008, which means it'll also take on models such as the forthcoming all-new Hyundai Kona and the Smart's #1. The Jeep uses the updated 54 kWh battery from the DS for a 248-mile range. Plus, that car's more powerful 154 brake horsepower motor, which will soon make its way across the parent group Stellantis' range of small EVs. We've actually driven this car before, albeit in quite controlled conditions at Jeep's test track in Italy. But even so, we thought this would be a good opportunity to have another good poke around the car and show you guys some of the most important elements that we think you should know about. The good news is that even though it's a little bit shorter than the Jeeps we know and love, it's a full 16 centimetres shorter than the Renegade, there's still plenty of Jeepy styling cues. Take this 7-slot grille, you've got the wide, stocky stance, you've got cladding that runs all the way around the car, which Jeep actually says could save you as much as £1,000 over the lifetime of the car from scuffs and scrapes. But Jeep wants this to be a customisable car. It's going to offer over 100 options and accessories, whether that's graphics or different colours for the roof. You've got rubber mats or premium carpets. Jeep wants you to make this car your own. There's the usual raised ride height and some underbody protection, and you even get snow, mud and sand drive modes. But remember, this is front-wheel drive only, so it's likely to be a bit all show, no go when it comes to the kind of stuff that Jeep is famous for. Or at least, for the time being, 4x4 versions have been touted. But how many buyers of this type of car are going to be taking this thing off-road? The toughest thing this thing's likely to see is the ramp up into the supermarket car park. Let's be realistic. Full prices for the mini electric Jeep haven't been revealed, but the flashy first edition, pretty much the car that you see here, is already on sale from £36,500. It's got a strong kit list, but Jeep says there'll be cheaper and more expensive models in time. The full range goes on sale in the spring. As it stands though, this mid to high spec Avenger with 18-inch wheels, dual 10.25-inch displays, heated seats and loads of safety kit undercuts even the cheapest DS3, while a Kia e-Niro, admittedly a slightly bigger car, starts from around the same price. That, in our eyes, makes this Jeep actually look like half-decent value. So, business as usual on the outside, but actually in here it feels a little bit more Fiat. There are similarities, believe it or not, with the electric 500. The way the screen sits proud up here, the flashes of colour on the dash and the shortcut buttons down here. I suppose it shouldn't really come as much of a surprise when you consider that Jeep and Fiat sit under the same umbrella. But there are still plenty of unique features. This is obviously a much bigger car than the Fiat 500. We'll take a seat in the back in a moment. But even up here, you've got this infotainment screen. It's obviously running Jeep software and you get loads of connected features. Quality, it's okay. You've got some scratchier plastics on the doors and the dash, but the steering wheel feels lovely. Storage, that's a real plus point. There's 34 litres dotted around the cabin. There's a big bin between here. You've got a nice storage shelf up there for phones, some cup holders down here, and a lidded cubby between the front seats. UK specs are being finalised as we speak, but it's likely that in addition to that flashy first edition, we'll get the usual longitude and limited trim levels. The former, we expect, will come with LED lights, a smaller 7-inch instrument panel, plus a 10.25-inch screen you see here. You'll also get parking sensors and probably smaller wheels. Meanwhile, the pricier of the two specs will ramp up the kit count with a larger instrument panel, different seat upholstery, and a powered tailgate with hands-free gesture control. If you can get your hands on one, this first edition looks like it could be the sweet spot of kit versus price. Jumping in the back, you immediately notice that there is a little bit more room back here than there is in, say, a Mokka or a DS3, certainly in terms of leg and knee room, but also in terms of headroom as well. I'm 6 foot tall and I can sit here pretty comfortably. I wouldn't want to go 3 across the back for long distances, especially because this centre console here really does protrude into the rear, but, well, show me a small crossover that is comfortable for 3 in the back for long journeys. Otherwise though, you get a single USB slot down there and some pockets in the back of the doors, but otherwise, as you'd expect. As mentioned a couple of times, the Avenger uses a familiar recipe. The same battery and motor as the recently facelifted DS3, as well as the same charging tech and a similar range. Plugging into a 100 kilowatt rapid charger should be good for a 10 to 80% top up in around half an hour, while fully recharging at home is doable overnight in just over 7 hours. The boot measures 341 litres, which is pretty competitive in this area of the market. It's a bit bigger than the Vauxhall, a little bit smaller than the Peugeot, but it's a decent shape and size, and there's some storage under there for keeping your charging cables. Now, Jeep says it's actually going to offer a reversible boot floor, so you can turn it over and chuck in your mucky boots and then take it out and hose it down. It's a wonder, really, why more kind of lifestyle cars like this one don't offer it as an option. Seems we've done things a little bit back to front here, given the fact that we've actually already driven the new Jeep Avenger, but I hope you'll agree that this is a good way to bring this car to life and maybe allow you guys to visualise some of the things that perhaps we couldn't in writing. But all things considered, the new Jeep Avenger seems like a worthy addition to the current crop of small electric SUVs. It might not be a Jeep in the conventional sense, but there's plenty of cool, quirky features that make some of this car's rivals look like, well, refrigerators. There are at least 3 more Jeep EVs in the pipeline. So, if you're considering one, add it to your shortlist. Head to DrivingElectric.com for all the latest electric and hybrid car advice, news and reviews, and check us out on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. Finally, while you're here, make sure you hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel and turn on notifications to ensure you never miss a video.